The 1985 D Roosevelt dime is one of those coins that at first glance seems like an ordinary piece of pocket change, yet upon closer inspection and under the right conditions, it can carry significant numismatic and financial value. This dime was minted at the Denver Mint in 1985, during a period when the Roosevelt dime had already been circulating for nearly 4 decades. Introduced in 1946 as a tribute to President Franklin D. Roosevelt following his passing, the coin was created both to honor his leadership and to acknowledge his role in supporting the March of Dimes, an organization that fought against polio, the disease Roosevelt himself endured. The 1985 D. Roosevelt dime continues this important historical legacy while also standing as a collectible coin, especially when found in pristine condition. While millions of these dimes were minted, the survival of high-grade examples that meet collector demand is much rarer than one might expect, which is one of the major reasons why a well-preserved 1985 D dime can command prices up to $1,200 in today's market. When looking at the design of the 1985 D dime, it remains consistent with the traditional Roosevelt dime series. The obverse of the coin features a left-facing portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt, designed by John R. Sinek, the chief engraver of the United States Mint at the time of the dime's creation. Above Roosevelt's head is the word Liberty, while the motto, "In God We Trust," appears to the left, along with the date 1985 situated at the lower right of the bust. The mint mark D, which identifies the Denver Mint as the place of production, can be found just above the date. On the reverse, the design is equally symbolic. It showcases a torch in the center, representing liberty, flanked by an olive branch on the left, symbolizing peace, and an oak branch on the right, symbolizing strength and independence. Surrounding these elements are the inscriptions United States of America, a pluribus unum, and one dime. This balance of symbolism in design has made the Roosevelt dime a consistent and enduring part of U.S. coinage history. The 1985 D Roosevelt dime is composed of a clad alloy of 75% copper and 25% nickel, bonded to a pure copper core. This copper-nickel clad composition replaced the 90% silver and 10% copper alloy used in dimes prior to 1965, following the Coinage Act of 1965. The change was made due to rising silver prices, which made it impractical to continue producing circulating silver dimes. As a result, the 1985 D dime has no intrinsic silver value, but its worth comes entirely from its rarity, condition, and collector demand. The coin weighs 2.27 grams, has a diameter of 17.9 millimeters, and features a reeded edge. While the specifications are standard for modern dimes, it is the historical placement of the coin within the Roosevelt dime series and its grading potential that give it value beyond face value. One of the reasons the 1985 D Roosevelt dime can achieve a market value of $1,200 is the scarcity of coins in high grades. Although the Denver Mint produced over 585 million dimes in 1985, the vast majority went into circulation and suffered wear and tear over the years. Coins that entered circulation typically lost their luster, sustained scratches, and accumulated marks from everyday use. In contrast, coins that were preserved in original mint condition or graded by professional services like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, and NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Company, have the chance to achieve higher grades, which dramatically increases their value. Collectors especially prize coins graded at MS-67 or higher, as these are extremely rare due to the strict standards required to earn such grades. A 1985 D dime with exceptional strike, full details, and original mint luster can easily attract competitive bidding among collectors, driving prices up into the 4-figure range. Rarity in numismatics does not always mean a coin is rare in mintage numbers, but rather that it is rare in a specific condition. This concept applies directly to the 1985 D dime. While there is no shortage of worn or circulated 1985 D dimes, Finding one that is virtually flawless, with no distracting marks under magnification, is extremely difficult. This explains why examples that have been preserved since minting and later discovered in rolls or mint sets can command such high premiums today. A collector who stumbles upon a high-grade 1985 D dime, especially one graded MS-68 or higher, could be sitting on a coin worth $1,200 or more. Market value for the 1985 D dime also depends heavily on collector demand and the broader dynamics of the Roosevelt dime series. The Roosevelt dime is widely collected, not only in the United States but also internationally, due to its long history and symbolic connection to Franklin Roosevelt. Many collectors attempt to complete full sets of Roosevelt dimes, which include every date and mint mark combination from 1946 to the present. Within this context, even coins like the 1985 D dime, which might seem common at first, become essential pieces in building a complete collection. High-grade specimens of relatively modern coins often achieve higher values because collectors need them to complete top-grade sets, and competition among bidders pushes prices upward. Beyond standard mint issues, error coins from the 1985 D dime series can also be of immense value. Minting errors such as off-center strikes, double dies, die cracks, and missing clad layers can significantly boost the desirability of a coin. While errors are relatively rare, when they occur, they are often one of a kind or exist in very small numbers, making them highly collectible. An error 1985. D-dime could easily surpass the $1,200 valuation depending on the type and visibility of the error. For instance, a dime struck on a defective planchet or with a prominent double die would attract strong collector interest at auctions. Another important factor influencing the value of the 1985 D-dime is its historical context. By the mid-1980s, coin collecting had become an increasingly popular hobby in the United States, and more people began saving coins from circulation in hopes of discovering rarities. The 1985 dimes were minted during a time when the economy was stable, and the U.S. Mint was producing coins in large quantities. Yet the survival of mint state coins in untouched condition remained low compared to the overall mintage. Today, nearly 4 decades later, these coins represent a snapshot of American history, not only honoring Franklin Roosevelt's memory, but also reflecting the period in which they were struck. Collectors who own or are searching for a 1985 D dime should also consider professional grading and authentication. Submitting a high-quality example to NGC or PCGS is often worth the investment, as it can confirm the coin's authenticity and condition, and thus solidify its market value. Buyers are much more willing to pay top dollar for coins that have been graded by a reputable service, as this removes the uncertainty of condition disputes. A coin graded MS-67 or MS-68 by PCGS, for instance, will have a much higher chance of reaching or exceeding the $1,200 market value threshold compared to a raw, ungraded coin. The appeal of the 1985 D Roosevelt dime lies not only in its design and connection to history, but also in its ability to transform an everyday pocket coin into a treasure worth thousands of times its face value. While it may be just 10 cents in the eyes of the general public, to collectors, it represents a rare opportunity to add a high-grade and historically meaningful coin to their collection. The journey from being minted in Denver in 1985, entering circulation, and surviving decades in unblemished condition to finally being recognized as a $1,200 collectible is what makes numismatics such a fascinating field. Every coin tells a story, and the 1985 D dime is no exception. It speaks of American history, the evolution of coinage, and the enduring legacy of Franklin D. Roosevelt. In conclusion, the 1985 D Roosevelt dime is a perfect example of how condition, rarity, and collector demand can elevate the value of a seemingly ordinary coin. With a market value of $1,200 in top condition, this dime is not only a piece of American history, but also a potential hidden treasure for those who recognize its worth. Collectors should look closely at their coin collections, mint sets, or even pocket change, as finding a high-grade 1985 D dime could be a numismatic windfall. It proves that coin collecting is more than just a hobby. It is a way of uncovering the hidden gems of history, one dime at a time. Next up, the 1971 D Mint Mark Roosevelt dime is one of those fascinating coins that may seem ordinary at first glance, but actually carries hidden value for collectors, especially when preserved in excellent condition. Minted in Denver, this coin bears the D Mint mark just to the left of the torch on the reverse side, and while it was struck in large numbers for circulation, finding examples in pristine quality or with unique features can make it a surprisingly valuable collectible. Today, the coin belongs to the Roosevelt dime series, first introduced in 1946 to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt shortly after his death. Roosevelt was chosen for the dime because of his leadership during World War II and his association with the March of Dimes, a campaign aimed at fighting polio. The dime's design has remained mostly unchanged for decades, featuring a left-facing portrait of Roosevelt on the obverse, designed by John R. Sinek, and the reverse depicting a torch, flanked by an olive branch and an oak branch symbolizing liberty, peace, and strength. The 1971 D dime continues that design legacy, and although it is made from a copper-nickel-clad composition rather than silver, since silver was phased out from circulating dimes in 1965, it still carries historical and numismatic interest. In the terms of physical specifications, the coin weighs 2.27 grams, has a diameter of 17.9 millimeters, and a reeded edge. Its composition consists of an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel, bonded to a pure copper core. While the coin lacks the precious metal content of earlier dimes, collectors focus instead on its condition, strike quality, and potential errors. Because millions of these were struck, circulated examples typically only hold face value, but the true market worth lies in uncirculated and high-grade examples, as well as rare minting errors that can drive up collector demand. The market value of a standard 1971 D dime can vary widely. Average circulated examples will generally only be worth 10 cents, but those preserved in exceptional condition, especially those graded by professional services such as NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Company, or PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, can command far higher prices. High-grade specimens in mint state, MS-65 or higher, can reach strong premiums, with collectors willing to pay far above face value for coins that exhibit clean surfaces, sharp strikes, and full luster. Some rare specimens of the 1971 D dime in high grades or with unique error features have been valued at around $200, which is a remarkable increase from its original face value. Errors are one of the most exciting aspects of the 1971 D dime, and play a significant role in its collectible value. Some of the most sought-after errors include off-center strikes, where part of the design is missing due to misalignment. Double die errors, where details like lettering or Roosevelt's profile show doubling from die misalignment, and clipped planchets, where part of the coin's edge is missing due to an error during the blank cutting process. These errors can transform a seemingly common dime into a valuable rarity, fetching hundreds of dollars at auctions. Collectors especially prize dramatic errors that are easily visible to the naked eye, as these are more appealing and unique. The historical context of the 1971 dime also adds to its appeal. By this time, the U.S. Mint had fully transitioned away from silver coinage in regular circulation, and the public had adjusted to the copper-nickel-clad coinage system. The Roosevelt dime design had already been in circulation for 25 years by 1971, and the Denver Mint played a key role in supplying coins for everyday commerce. While billions of clad dimes have been minted since 1965, examples from the early clad years such as the 1971 D-dime, are particularly interesting to numismatists because they mark the early decades of non-silver coinage in America. Collectors often wonder, why does a dime from 1971 with no silver content sometimes sell for hundreds of dollars? The answer lies in the combination of rarity in condition, demand among collectors, and special attributes such as errors. While millions were minted, most circulated heavily, resulting in wear and scratches. Coins that survived untouched, perhaps. In original mint sets or rolls stored away by collectors in the 1970s are the ones that command premium prices today. The $200 market value estimate applies to high-grade, uncirculated examples or coins with highly desirable error varieties. For instance, a 1971 D-dime graded MS67 by PCGS or NGC could easily fetch hundreds of dollars at auction, while an error coin could bring in even more depending on its uniqueness. Another factor that adds to the collectible nature of the 1971 D-dime is the overall popularity of the Roosevelt dime series. While it may not be as glamorous as older series like the Mercury dime or Barber dime, it has been around for nearly 80 years, and many collectors enjoy completing sets that cover every year and mint mark. For this reason, certain years, or mint, marks in higher grades become highly desirable. The 1971 D-dime, despite being a clad issue, has carved out a place in the hearts of collectors who value it for both its role in American coinage history and its potential market value when preserved. Well, when discussing grading, the condition of the coin makes a huge difference. Collectors look for coins that retain their original mint luster, with no signs of circulation wear, scratches, or discoloration. Coins in the lower mint state grades like MS60 to MS63 may sell for a modest premium, but those in the gem categories of MS65 and higher can truly bring in hundreds of dollars. Additionally, coins with a full torch, FT designation, where the details of the torch on the reverse are sharply struck and fully visible, are especially prized. These designations highlight the strike quality and add further value to the A coin. In summary, the 1971 D. Roosevelt dime may appear like just another small coin in your change jar, but under the surface, it has all the elements that make it worth far more than face value under the right circumstances. With its rich historical background, its role in the long-running Roosevelt dime series, its potential for striking errors, and the premium placed on high-grade examples, this coin has earned its place as a hidden treasure in U.S. coinage. Its market value today can reach up to $200, making it a remarkable find for anyone lucky enough to discover one in pristine condition. Collectors who specialize in Roosevelt dimes know the importance of keeping an eye out for early clad issues like this one, as their value will likely continue to grow over time. The 1971 D-dime stands as proof that even coins without silver content, and even those minted in large numbers, can carry substantial worth when rarity, condition, and collector demand come into play. Next up, the 1970 No Mint Mark Roosevelt dime is a fascinating coin in U.S. numismatics, a piece that might look ordinary at first glance, but has the potential to be worth far more than its face value in the right condition. Produced by the Philadelphia Mint in 1970, this dime carries no mint mark because the Philadelphia Mint did not use one at the time, and while it was struck in large numbers for general circulation, collectors today recognize it as an important coin in the Roosevelt dime series due to its age, its history, and the fact that high-quality examples are becoming increasingly difficult to find. Designed by John R. Sinek, the dime was first introduced in 1946 to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt, who passed away in 1945 and whose leadership during the Great Depression and World War II left an unforgettable mark on the nation. By 1970, the coin had already been in circulation for nearly 25 years, yet the design remained unchanged, featuring Roosevelt's portrait on the obverse with the inscriptions, "Liberty, in God we trust," and the date 1970, while the reverse displayed the iconic torch of liberty flanked by an olive branch and oak branch, symbolizing peace and strength. Collectors who study the 1970 no-mint mark dime know that while millions were minted, the survival of pristine, high-grade examples is rare because these coins were heavily circulated in commerce, meaning most surviving examples today are worn and only worth a small premium above face value. However, for coins in superb condition, such as those graded mint state MS by PCGS or NGC, the market value can rise dramatically, with top examples reaching as high as $400 depending on grade, luster, and eye appeal. This market value makes it one of those hidden treasures that could still be sitting in everyday change, waiting for someone with a keen eye to discover it. One reason the 1970 no-mint mark dime carries collector interest is its place in the broader history of U.S. coinage. Just a few years earlier, in 1965, the U.S. Mint had transitioned away from using silver in its dimes, quarters, and half dollars due to rising silver prices. Before 1965, dimes were struck in 90% silver, but beginning that year they were made with a copper-nickel-clad composition, consisting of an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core. The 1970 dime, therefore, is part of the early clad coinage era, and these coins often did not hold sentimental value to the public the way silver coins did. As a result, many were used and abused in circulation, which is why finding a high-grade survivor from this year is challenging. Collectors who specialize in Roosevelt dimes often seek examples from every year and mint. And while the 1970 dime may not immediately stand out as scarce, its condition rarity makes it important. A coin graded MS65 or higher with strong luster. And no distracting marks can easily fetch hundreds of dollars, with the best-known examples pushing the $400 mark. For collectors, it is not just about the metal content, but about the historical moment the coin represents, the artistry of its design, and the satisfaction of owning a pristine example of a coin that has seen over 5 decades of American history. Grading plays an enormous role in determining the value of the 1970 no-mint mark dime. Coins in good, G, to fine, F condition are usually only worth face value or slightly more, since they are common and worn. However, once a dime reaches the about uncirculated, AU level, collectors begin to take more notice, as these coins show. Only light wear on the high points of the design. The real premium begins with mint state grades, particularly MS63, MS65, and higher. At the MS65 level, the coin must display strong strike details, attractive luster, and minimal marks visible, under magnification. At the MS67 level, a 1970 dime becomes exceedingly rare, as only a handful have survived in such flawless condition. These high-end examples are the ones that can command market values of up to $400, especially when certified by grading services, like NGC or PCGS, which provide authentication and assurance of quality. Collectors also look for varieties and errors from this year, as error coins, such as off-center strikes, double strikes, or dimes struck on the wrong planche, can add extraordinary value to an otherwise ordinary coin. Such minting errors are rare, but always excite the numismatic community because they provide a tangible glimpse into the minting process and the possibility of unique, one-of-a-kind collectibles. The historical context of the 1970 dime adds further depth to its story. The early 1970s were a time of great change in the United States, marked by the Vietnam War, civil rights struggles, and cultural shifts. Coins like the 1970 dime circulated through countless hands during this period, silently witnessing history, as Americans used them for everyday purchases. For many collectors, owning a coin from 1970 is like holding a piece of that history, a physical reminder of the era and the people who lived through it. While a dime might seem small and insignificant, it carries within it a narrative that stretches beyond its monetary value. This historical association enhances the appeal of the coin for both seasoned numismatists and new collectors who appreciate the broader cultural backdrop. Another reason the 1970 no-mint mark dime holds value is its role in completing Roosevelt. Dime collections. Serious collectors aim to build complete date and mint mark sets, and while the 1970 dime is not considered a key date, it is still a necessary piece to finish the puzzle. For those who pursue only high-grade examples, the challenge lies in finding a sharply struck, well-preserved coin that has not been mishandled over decades of circulation. The market reflects this difficulty, which is why top-quality examples sell for hundreds of dollars even though lower-grade versions are plentiful. The fact that the coin can range in value from just 10 cents to $400, depending on its grade, illustrates the dramatic impact that condition and rarity of preservation can have on market price. Collectors are also advised to carefully inspect any 1970 dimes they come across, as small differences can make a big impact on value. While the Philadelphia Mint produced coins without a mint mark, both the Denver D and San Francisco S mints also produced dimes in 1970, with the San Francisco Mint issuing proof coins. These proof coins, struck with specially prepared dies and planchets, were sold to collectors directly and never intended for circulation, meaning they often survive in superb condition. The no-mint mark Philadelphia dimes, however, were intended for everyday use, and that is precisely why high-grade examples are so rare and desirable. Knowing the difference between a circulated Philadelphia dime and a pristine one can mean the difference between holding a coin worth just 10 cents and one worth $400. In conclusion, the 1970 no-mint mark Roosevelt dime is far more than an ordinary piece of pocket change. It represents a chapter in U.S. coinage history, reflects the transition to clad coinage, and carries the legacy of President Roosevelt in its design. While millions were produced, only a small number survive in the kind of condition that excites collectors and investors, making it a condition rarity rather than a mintage rarity. With a market value that can reach up to $400 in the best grades, this coin reminds us that treasures often hide in plain sight. For collectors, owning a high-grade 1970 no-mint mark dime is both a challenge and a reward, a way to connect with history, preserve a piece of America's numismatic heritage, and potentially hold an asset that grows in value over time. The CL hunt for such coins in circulation may be slim today, but it continues to inspire coin enthusiasts to look closely at the change in their pockets, because sometimes the smallest coins carry the biggest stories and the greatest surprises. Next up, the 1969 D Mint Mark 1 dime holds a special place in U.S. coinage history and among numismatists who dedicate their time to studying and collecting rare coins. Minted in Denver, as denoted by the D Mint mark, this coin belongs to the Roosevelt dime series, which was first issued in 1946 to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt following his passing. At first glance, the 1969 D dime may look like just another ordinary coin from the pocket change of the late 1960s, but when you dive deeper into its story, design, minting details, and collector appeal, you begin to realize why this coin can command a market value of up to $500 in today's numismatic market, especially when found in pristine or rare condition. The obverse of the coin proudly features the left-facing portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt, sculpted by John R. Sinek, the chief engraver of the United States Mint at the time. His initials JS can be seen at the base of Roosevelt's neck, a detail often overlooked by casual holders of the coin. The inscriptions include Liberty along the left rim, the motto In God We Trust just below the chin, and the mint year 1969 placed neatly to the right of the portrait. On some dimes, the D Mint mark, located just above the date, is what sets the Denver-struck versions apart from those minted in Philadelphia, no mint mark, or San Francisco, proof coins. This small detail plays a huge role in both identifying the coin and assessing its desirability. On the reverse side, the design carries strong symbolism. It showcases a torch at the center, representing liberty, flanked by an olive branch on the left, a universal symbol of peace, and an oak branch on the right, standing for strength and independence. Around these elements are the inscriptions United States of America at the top, a pluribus unum across the middle, and one dime at the bottom. This reverse design remains unchanged since the series began in 1946, making the dime an enduring representation of post-World War II American ideals. From a technical perspective, the 1969 D dime was struck in copper-nickel-clad composition, AA, mixture of copper and nickel, rather than the 90% silver used in dimes prior to 1965. Its specifications include a weight of 2.27 grams, a diameter of 17.9 millimeters, and a reeded edge. This change in metal composition was largely driven by rising silver prices in the 1960s, which forced the U.S. Mint to move toward more cost-effective materials while still maintaining durability and practicality for circulation. As a result, the 1969 D dime reflects a period of transition in U.S. coinage. What makes this coin stand out is its collector demand and rarity in high grade. While millions were minted at the Denver Mint, most of these coins circulated heavily and show signs of wear and tear today. For collectors, condition is everything. A 1969 D dime in circulated grade may only fetch a small premium above face value, but in uncirculated or mint state condition, particularly those graded MS-65 and above by top-tier grading companies like PCGS or NGC, the value can soar to around $500 or more. Coins with sharp strikes, full details, and strong luster are the most sought after. Moreover, any minting errors, such as off-center strikes, double dies, or missing mint marks, can push the coin's value even higher, sometimes well beyond the average market price. Historically, 1969 was a significant year in American culture and history. The coinage of this period reflects an era marked by the Vietnam War, the Civil Rights Movement, and one of the most iconic moments in history, the Apollo 11 moon landing. While the dime itself may not directly commemorate these events, owning a 1969 D dime is like holding a small piece of the American experience during a transformative decade. For collectors, the historical context often adds another layer of meaning and value to what might otherwise be considered just a small piece of currency. The market value of $500 today is a testament to how collectors view the coin's rarity, condition, and historical significance. Auction results show that top-graded examples consistently bring strong prices, and with growing interest in mid-20th century U.S. coins, demand is unlikely to wane anytime soon. The dime also appeals to beginner collectors because it's relatively affordable in lower grades, but offers great potential in mint state and error varieties for seasoned numismatists. Grading plays a crucial role in determining the true worth of the 1969 D dime. Professional grading services like NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Company, and PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, provide authentication and assign grades on a scale from 1 to 70. Coins in MS-60, MS-63 range are considered uncirculated but may have minor marks, while MS-65 and higher indicate superb examples with minimal imperfections. Only a small percentage of 1969 D dimes survive in such conditions, which is why these top-graded coins attract such high premiums. Collectors often pair the 1969 D dime with other Roosevelt dimes from the late 1960s and early 1970s, building complete sets that showcase both mint marks and proof issues. These sets tell the larger story of America's coinage transition from silver to clad, while also highlighting the artistry of Sinek's timeless design. For those lucky enough to discover a 1969 D dime in an inherited collection or tucked away in a forgotten coin jar, the discovery can be financially rewarding, turning what appears to be pocket change into a $500 collectible asset. In summary, the 1969 D Mint Mark Roosevelt dime is far more than just a small denomination coin. It's a piece of numismatic art, historical reflection, and collector's treasure. With its market value reaching around $500 in top condition, the coin continues to intrigue both casual hobbyists and serious investors. Its design, symbolic elements, minting history, and grading potential make it a valuable addition to any collection. Whether you're a collector searching for a high-grade specimen or simply someone fascinated by the hidden world